History has a habit of remembering victories, inventions, and great names, while quietly setting aside the endings that were less dignified. Monuments are raised to triumphs, not mishaps. And yet, many of history's most instructive moments come not from grand strategy, but from small errors unfolding at exactly the wrong time. In this episode, we'll examine one such case, drawn not from rumor or exaggeration, but from documented wartime records. This is the story of a modern weapon of war, a trained crew, and a failure so mundane that it altered the fate of an entire vessel. This is the story of how a German submarine in 1945 was undone not by enemy fire, but by plumbing.
Looks clogged.
What the hell? I just had these all in perfect working condition.
It must be my shoes.
Your shoes? What are you talking about?
Well, when I said I lost my shoes, I didn't mean I didn't know where they were. It's just that they were gone.
You flushed your shoes down the toilet? Why would you do that?
The U in U-boat stands for Unterseeboot, which means undersea boat, though Unterwasserboot, meaning underwater boat, is also used when discussing German submarines. During World War II, the German Navy, or Kriegsmarine, commissioned approximately 1,162 U-boats, and roughly 784 of them are believed to have been sunk or destroyed. German submarines were typically manned by a crew of 40 to 55 men, meaning over 30,000 German submariners were killed. Despite the fact that German submarines were technologically advanced, strategically vital, and crewed by highly trained men, survival rates for U-boat crews were among the worst of any World War II service branch. The German submarine U-1206 was a Type 7C U-boat of the Kriegsmarine, launched late in the Second World War and commanded by Kapitänleutnant Karl Adolf Schlitt. It represented the height of German submarine engineering at a time when the Atlantic War was already turning against Germany. The submarine in the film Das Boot was, in fact, a Type 7C U-boat. By 1945, German U-boats were no longer the hunters they had once been. Allied radar, air patrols, and depth charge tactics had made submarine operations increasingly dangerous. In response, German engineers introduced complex new systems designed to allow submarines to remain submerged longer, including pressurized toilets capable of being flushed at depth, an innovation that, on paper, solved a long-standing problem. Modern submarines have sewage holding tanks, which can be emptied into the sea at certain depths in permitted waters. That wasn't the case during World War II. When surfaced, or at periscope depth, the toilet could usually be flushed directly overboard, using a relatively simple valve system. Gravity and minimal pressure did most of the work, and the risk of seawater rushing back in was manageable. At deeper depths, flushing became dangerous. Ocean pressure could force water into the submarine if the valves were mishandled. So crews often did not flush at all, used the toilet as a sealed container, or waited until surfacing to empty it. This meant toilets could be temporarily occupied, sometimes for hours, sometimes longer. Being able to flush the toilet on a submarine was considered a great technological advancement, and it allowed the sub to remain submerged for longer periods without smelling like a Coachella porta potty that has been baking in the summer sun.
Scream's kind of cool, right?
It's better. It's better. Works better than the music. I never would have thought.
Yeah. The music was like, I felt like I could hear maybe a poop or a pee happening, but the screams are.
Right.
And I feel like I'm not even in a bathroom right now.
Yeah, here you are eating a burrito.
Yeah, in a bathroom. Yeah.
The toilet flushing system on the U-1206, however, was complicated enough to require specialized training. It involved a precise sequence of valves, pressures, and timing. When used correctly, it worked. When used incorrectly, it did not forgive mistakes, which makes what happened next remarkably unheroic. While operating in the North Sea, on the 14th of April 1945, a mere 24 days before the end of World War II in Europe, A crew member attempted to use the submarine's high-pressure toilet. The process went wrong. Valves were opened in the wrong order. Seawater surged back through the system and flooded the compartment. This alone would have been inconvenient. Unfortunately, directly beneath the toilet compartment were the submarine's battery banks. When seawater reached them, it reacted chemically to produce chlorine gas, an unmistakable and highly dangerous presence in the sealed environment of a submerged submarine. With no realistic way to contain the contamination, the captain ordered an emergency surface. U-1206 broke the surface in hostile waters, immediately exposing itself to Allied aircraft. Attacked from the air, the submarine was damaged beyond recovery. With no remaining options, the crew abandoned ship and scuttled their own vessel. 3 men drowned during the evacuation. The rest were captured. U-1206 never fired a torpedo in combat, though I am certain with 50 men aboard, a great many torpedoes were fired from the pressurized toilet. Its operational career ended because of a misused toilet and an over-engineered solution to a very old problem. Today, it remains one of the most frequently cited examples of how complexity, under pressure, can be more dangerous than the enemy. History often credits its outcomes to bold decisions and decisive battles, but just as often it turns on moments no one planned for. In the case of the U-1206, years of engineering, training, and strategy were undone by a single procedural error in the most confined space imaginable. Modern submarines can stay submerged for months, launch precision weapons, and generate their own oxygen. On old subs, simply flushing the toilet could get a crew of 50 personnel either killed or captured. It is a reminder that history is not only shaped by brilliance or bravery, but by the quiet, fragile systems we assume will simply work. And sometimes they don't.